We are back with Jerry Vasile from Gallo and Ike Evangelo, and today we are on 1B. So 1B of this contract talks about what is included with the purchase. And there is a section of this paragraph right here. You can see that there are items written in there, typed in there, of what's included. And they can include things from curtain rods, basketball apparatus, TV wall mounts, and things like that. And that's a newer one because a lot of people used to take their TVs and took the bracket right off the wall. And no, you have to you need to leave the TV mount so there's not a big hole in there. The other thing I've seen is trees and shrubs. I've had people that really attach to a certain tree. You just can't take it after you've signed this contract and after the fact. Okay, you would need to just have that written somewhere in the contract that you are planning on removing the tree that was given to you from your grandmother or something like that, or your parents. So tell us what else we probably should or shouldn't do with this, Gary.
The section has a place where any type of appliances or any freely movable things in the home over and above the standard items that are printed in the contract should be left. So if you negotiate that the refrigerator is included in the deal, that would have to be in writing and written down. If you negotiate the stove or the
washer and dryer,
though, it's usually appliances, but the key is anything that is not permanently affixed or attached to the house has to be separately stated.
And one of the things, getting to that, I would say, is one of the things that gets in here a lot of times is window treatments. So in the contract it says the traverse rods, would stay. It doesn't, and the blinds, because they're built in. But drapes become an issue sometimes. The seller can take it if you don't write it in.
Correct.
So make sure you write in. They can't take the rods though, but they can take the drapes down. So if you do want the window treatments, put in all window treatments in there. Another thing that comes up sometimes is you have a decorative mirror over your pedestal sink in the foyer powder room or in the first floor powder room. As an example, make sure if you're going to take that as a seller, you exclude it in the contract, because I would consider that something being fixed. It's right over the pedestal sink. It's right over in the bathroom. You shouldn't just take that mirror and remove it and leave no mirror.
Yeah. If there's any question, if you're in a gray area, best bet is to reduce it to writing so there is no question about how that particular item is going to be treated.
Okay, Jerry, I'm a buyer, and by the way, it said right in the MLS that the stove was going to stay in the MLS service, that the stove was going to stay, but I didn't put it in the contract. I didn't write it in the contract. What would we do there?
It doesn't matter. The MLS does not control the deal. What controls the deal is the contract. We always, if there's a dispute, we always go back to the contract to look for a resolution. The MLS is just
aimed to be accurate, but it's not guaranteed.
Correct. If the MLS says that the stove, washer, and dryer are going to stay, then make sure in the contract the stove, washer, and dryer are written down. Do not rely that it was mentioned in the MLS profile.
And I have had that happen with one that they didn't write it in the refrigerator, and they thought it was staying, but it wasn't, and they didn't write it in, and my seller took it, and that did become an issue, but it got resolved prior to closing, but the seller did not need to leave it.
Right, those situations will result in a little bit of angst, but you got to remember there's a solution to every problem.
Yeah, we want to get to the final finish line, and we will work it out. In addition to the end of 1B, it says, what about the items, Jerry, that you can tell us?
Oh, yeah, one last thought. Whatever appliances or items of personal property the seller is leaving with the property, the seller must own free and outright. There can't be any loans against those items, because the seller at the time of closing will be presenting a bill of sale for those items to the buyer.
Okay. The other thing is with that is everything must be in good working order at closing. Okay, so when you do your final walkthrough, we'll get into that later in the contract, but you will check out all the appliances and everything that's in the house. But once, say your refrigerator or your heater, whatever is being transferred with the property, if day after closing, you move in, you closed yesterday, you move in today, one of those items stops working, unless you can prove there was some knowledge of there being a problem and the seller did not disclose that, it's unfortunately the buyer's responsibility at that point to have to get it fixed, repaired, or replaced.
Yep, they have to be in working order at the time of closing.
Perfect. And that is the rest of 1B. Thank you, everyone. Again, Ellen Wood and Jerry Vasile.